Hey guys, so we're talking about proportional relationships today. We got started a little bit on the Nearpod, but what we were doing is defining what a proportional relationship is. So when we're talking about proportional relationships, we're talking about the relationship between two variables. So the ratio between these two variables, and for this instance, x and y, are the same always. So if I'm looking at a table or I'm looking at a graph, the ratio between y and x should be the same for each point if the relationship is proportional. So this definition right here, I think makes a little bit more sense than the one that I originally gave. So the ratio between x and y are the same always for a proportional relationship. So let's look at some more facts about proportional relationships. Last class, we discussed the equation y equals kx. Y equals kx is the equation we use for proportional relationships. So this should be in your notes already. And k, does anyone remember what k stands for? So if I'm looking back at my notes, I see that k stands for the constant of proportionality. So if I'm looking back at my notes, I see that k stands for the constant of proportionality. What did I say last class what this really means? What is constant proportionality? What's another word for that? Look back at your notes to answer the question. What did I say? The constant proportionality, another word for constant proportionality.
Slope.
Slope, thank you. So constant proportionality and slope are the same thing. So I mentioned last class that I don't know why they use different letters, right? This could just say mx. So constant proportionality is just really the slope, the rate at which the relationship between x and y. So if you can write an equation in the form of y equals kx, where the y-intercept is 0, then it's a proportional relationship. So this looks like y equals mx, but what's missing is this plus b part. Because in a proportional relationship, the y-intercept is always 0. This is key fact number 2 about proportional relationships. The y-intercept equals 0. That's important. I would circle that, underline that, bold that. For a proportional relationship, the y-intercept is always 0. For a proportional relationship, the y-intercept is always 0. So what we're looking at today is for a graph, a table, and word problems if they are proportional relationships based on this fact. So let's look at example number 1. So I'm looking at this graph. If I'm taking notes, I'm not gonna like copy down this graph exactly, I would just draw a graph with the line going through the origin. And my question is, based on what we just said, do you think that this graph is proportional?
Yes.
Oh, okay, maybe, okay. So the big thing here that I see, this y.
It goes through the origin.
Perfect, thank you, Kaylee. It's going through the origin, so it has a y-intercept of 0. Well, what did we say about proportional relationships? They would have a y-intercept of 0. And because of that, I know that this line is proportional. It's as easy as that. The other thing though is it has to be linear, right? A linear line. We're talking about linear lines. We're not talking about a line that is like la 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 la. Oh, I go through the origin, la 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 la. That's not a proportional relationship. Okay, so it would have to be a linear line that goes through the origin. So this line is proportional. Any questions? That's it. This line is going through the origin, has a y-intercept of 0, therefore that's proportional. So if I was writing my notes, I would draw the graph like this, put that the y-intercept equals 0, making this proportional. So, question number 1 for you to answer. Is this graph proportional? So you just do it in the poll. I'm gonna give you 30 seconds. Is this graph proportional? All right, so I'm just waiting on everyone to answer on the poll on the Nearpod. 10 seconds remaining. So you're trying to figure out if this graph is proportional. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's see. Okay, yay. I mean, I don't know, the people who didn't answer, you might have fell back asleep or something, I'm not sure. But this graph is proportional because the y-intercept is 0. It goes to the origin, okay? Let's not make this more complicated than it is. So this is a proportional graph. And then a big thing is, other than the fact that the y-intercept is 0, I know that the ratio between y and x are the same. For instance, at this point is 2, 2. Let's say this point is 5, 5. This point over here is -2, -2. If I looked at the ratio y over x for all of these, 5 over 5, 2 over 2, -2 over, -2 over -2, the ratio for all of these is 1. So the rate of this graph is 1 because the ratio between y and x are the same. So that's another reason why this graph is proportional. And we're going to go more in depth on that when it comes to the table part. So people who aren't answering, I can just pause my share real quick. Let's see. Make sure, I don't know if you like just checked out, it's the students who are virtual. Make sure if you don't do this Nearpod, you're gonna have to go do it back on your own. So you're gonna have to redo it if you don't participate on this one. All right, second question, is this graph proportional? 30 seconds. Fifteen more seconds. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good job. No, right? This has a y-intercept. This has a y-intercept of 2. Therefore, automatically, this is not proportional. And another way I can prove this, if I look at this point right here, this point is at 5, 7. This point is at 3, 5. If I do the ratio y over x, 7 over 5 is 1.4. 5 over 3 is 1.6 repeating. The ratios aren't the same for the ordered pairs. Therefore, that's another reason why this is not proportional. Good job, guys. Good job. All right. So let's look at, okay, I was like, what is this? All right, let's look at this. I think he explains it pretty well.
What I want to introduce you to in this video is the notion of a proportional relationship. And a proportional relationship between two variables is just a relationship where the ratio between the two variables is always going to be the same thing. So let's look at an example of that. So let's just say that we want to think about the relationship between x and y. And let's say that when x is 1, y is 3. And then when x is 2, y is 6. And when x is 9, y is 27. Now this is a proportional relationship. Why is that? Because the ratio between y and x is always the same thing. And actually the ratio between y and x, or you could say the ratio between x and y is always the same thing. So for example, if we say the ratio y over x, this is always equal to, it could be 3 over 1, which is just 3. It could be 6 over 2, which is also just 3. It could be 27 over 9, which is also just 3. So you see that y over x is always going to be equal to 3, or at least in this table right here. And so, or at least based on the data points we've just seen. So based on this, it looks like that we have a proportional relationship between y and x. So this one right over here is proportional. So given that, what's an example of relationships that are not proportional? Well, those are fairly easy to construct. So let's say we had, I'll do it with 2 different variables. So let's say we have A and B. A and B. And let's say when A is 1, B is 3. And when A is 2, B is 6. And when A is 10, B is 35. So here, you might say, oh, look, when A is 1, B is 3, so the ratio for the ratio B to A, you could say B to A, you could say, well, it's when B is 3, A is 1, or when A is 1, B is 3, so 3 to 1. And that's also the case when B is 6, A is 2, or when A is 2, B is 6, so it's 6 to 2. So these ratios seem to be the same, they're both 3. But then all of a sudden the ratio is different right over here. This is not equal to 35 over 10. This is not equal to 35 over 10. So this is not a proportional relationship. In order to be proportional, the ratio between the two variables always has to be the same. So this right over here, this is not proportional. Not proportional. So the key in identifying a proportional relationship is look at the different values that the variables take on when one variable is one value and then what does the other variable become, and then take the ratio between them. Here we took the ratio y to x, and you see y to x, or y divided by x, the ratio of y to x is always going to be the same here, so this is proportional. And you could have actually gone the other way. You could have said, well, what's the ratio of x to y? X to y? Well, over here it would be 1 to 3. 1 to 3, which is the same thing as 2 to 6, which is the same thing as 9 to 27. 9 to 27. When you take this ratio between, if you say the ratio of x to y instead of y to x, you see that it's always 1/3. But any way you look at it, the ratio between these two variables, if you say y to x, it's always going to be 3, or x to y is always going to be 1/3. So this is proportional while this one is not.
All right. So we're looking at tables. Go ahead and copy this table down in your notes. I'm gonna give you 1 minute. Quickly copy this table so that you have examples, right? We talked about this last class. If I'm letting you use your notes for your test, well, the more examples you have, the more likely you're gonna do better on your exam. So I feel like he explained it pretty well. But I'm definitely gonna re-explain what he said over and over again, because tables are the ones that most people forget if they're proportional or not, how to find out if they're proportional. All right, so I want to see if this table is proportional. To do that, to figure out if a table is proportional, the first thing you need to do is figure out if the ratio between y and x are the same. So I'll write this little key factor down. The first thing you want to know is if the ratio between y and x are the same. So we're trying to figure out the ratio between y and x are the same. If they are the same, then yes, it's proportional. If the ratios are not the same, then it's just non-proportional. Okay, so there's only two options here, either proportional or not proportional. So if we look at this table, I'm gonna mark this part out real quick. Well, really quickly, this 0, 0, going through the origin already tells me that it's proportional because it's telling me it's going through the origin. But let's say that it didn't tell me that, okay? When x is 5, y is 25. When x is 7, y is 35. When x is 8, y is 40. When x is 20, y is 100. So I want to see if the ratio between y and x are the same. So in your journal, make sure you're setting up the ratios as well. So we're going to do the ratio y over x. And the reason I keep saying y over x is just because I want to keep in step with how we do slope and how we do graphing and all that. We always had our y on top. So I just want to keep in with that. And then also y over x will help us get our equation for this table. So when I do y over x, 25 over 5, well, 25 over 5 reduces into 5. Y over x, 35 over 7 reduces into 5. And if you don't know what it reduces into, you're just dividing. 35 divided by 7 is 5. Y over x, 40 over 8 is 5. Y over x, 100 over 20 is also 5. So the ratio between y over x equals 5. This 5 also tells us what our k equals. This 5 also tells us what k equals. Let's figure out y. So y equals kx. Write this down in your journal real quick. Y equals kx. Okay, we're gonna do some algebra-minded thing real quick. Y equals kx. Let's say I wanted to figure out what k was. I wanted k all by itself, meaning I want to get rid of this x. K and x are multiplied together. What would I do to get rid of this x? Cool, awesome. I would divide by x, right? So that means y over x equals k. Oh, wait a minute. We just did y over x every single time. So there's your k equals k. So that's why this y over x, us doing y over x, gives us our k value. Therefore, the equation for this table is y equals 5x. There's our equation for the table. Because 5 represents the constant proportionality, meaning I'm multiplying by 5 every time to get to my y value. And guys, I'm not sure if some people go to the restroom while we're doing the lesson. Try to hold off until I'm done doing the lesson, okay? Because I don't want you to miss something important. All right. Let's look at this table. If you got it, I want you to answer ahead of me. If you didn't get it, let's do it again together, okay? So I'm trying to figure out if this table is proportional. Again, to figure out if it's proportional, I have to see if the ratio between y and x are the same throughout the whole table. So don't just do a couple of them and be like, oh, it's correct. No, you have to go through the whole table because one little thing could be wrong. So we're going to do the ratio y over x for the whole table. So 2.5 over 1. We're trying to see if that equals 12.5 over 5. We're trying to see if that equals 20 over 8. I don't know if it equals yet. I haven't even done it. We're trying to see if that equals 30 over 12. And we're trying to see if that equals 37.5 over 15. So I'm going to grab my calculator. So 2.5 over 1 is 2.5. 12.5 over 5 is 2.5. 20 over 8 is 2.5. 30 over 12 is 2.5. 37.5 over 15 is 2.5. Well, the ratio between y and x is the same for all of these. Therefore, this is proportional. And k equals 2.5 since all of these ratios were 2.5. So if I was to ask you, which I am going to ask you later on to do, to write an equation for this table, it would just be y equals 2.5x. And there's the equation for my table. So yes, this is proportional. Please ask a question if you're confused. Please, please, please. The tables is the hardest thing we're doing today. The tables is the hardest thing we're doing today. All right, so answer yes. 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right, so let's see what you get. Is this table proportional? So I'm gonna give you 1 minute to get your answer in. 20 more seconds, 20 more seconds. I'm gonna finish this in about 10 minutes. So I think pretty quickly you can figure out if it's proportional or not. So when I set up my proportion, negative 2.5 over negative 7 is like 0.357 something. Negative 0.5 over negative 3 is 0.167. So automatically, none of these, I already know, none of these ratios are going to be equal. Therefore, this one is not proportional. So I didn't even have to do the whole table because automatically I see the ratio between the first two were not the same. Therefore, it's not proportional. But just because it's not proportional doesn't mean we don't know how to find the equation, right? Just because it's not proportional, we're still going to have to find the equation of this table today. So I noticed a lot of you, some of y'all were very strong when it came to finding the equation to the tables. Some of you were kind of struggling a little bit. So we're going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Do me a favor and go ahead and write this table down in your notes, because I want to make sure we understand how to find the equation of a table. I'll show you later on how you can do this in Desmos, but we have to make sure we understand how to do it by hand first. All right, so first, I want to figure out my slope of this table. I'm going to use the positive numbers over here because I don't like negatives. So I'm going to go over here and make 3x1, 7x2, so that means 2.5 is y1, 4.5 is y2. Okay, I noticed a lot of people on the table part of the test just did not do very well. Okay, so I'm going to have to go over this, over and over again just to make sure that we understand. So we put labels, so x1, y1, and x2, y2. So I'm going to plug this into my slope formula. So y2 minus y1, that's 4.5 minus 2.5, over x2 minus x1, 7 minus 3. Oops. 4.5 minus 2.5 is 2. 7 minus 3 is 4. This gives me a slope of 0.5. So I got my slope of 0.5. This is my M. I think what I saw most people struggle on was finding the y-intercept. That's where people got stuck. People were just giving me, they would plug in a point and that's what they would give me an answer for, okay? But that's not how I find the y-intercept. So I'm gonna plug a point into my equation, y equals mx plus b. I'm gonna pick a point to plug in. I'm only using this to find my y-intercept. I do not keep this point plugged in when I finally find my y-intercept. So the y value I chose is 4.5. The slope that we just got is 0.5. The x value I chose to plug in is 7, and then plus b. This is what people were giving me as the answer. This is not the y-intercept. We have to find the y-intercept. So this says 4.5 equals 0.5 times 7 plus b. Well, first thing we do is multiply 0.5 times 7. So 4.5 equals 3.5 plus b. So now I'm trying to solve for B. I'm trying to figure out what B is. So I got to get rid of this positive 3.5. How would I get rid of this positive 3.5? So 3.5 is all by itself. It's positive. How do I get rid of it? I think someone's chatting. Awesome. Someone gave me the answer in the chat. So we're going to subtract 3.5 from both sides. And when I do that, I get a B value of 1. 1 equals B. There's my y-intercept. So my equation, y equals mx plus b, the equation for this non-proportional line is 0.5x plus 1, because it has a slope of 0.5 and a y-intercept of 1. So I know I'm taking a long time, and I'm sorry, I was going to go faster, but I just remembered the results of the test, especially when it came to tables. We have to know how to find the slope and y-intercept. If you want to take a screenshot of this, that's fine. But having them in your notes, writing it yourself, helps you understand and comprehend more. All right. We only have a couple of things left, and then I'm good. Word problem. Okay, so this is the last topic of the day, is trying to figure out if a word problem is proportional or not. What I would do is I would take a screenshot of this page right here. Okay, so this has, it's filled of good notes already. So, but we're just gonna break it down. In a word problem, if you read the text and can write the equation in the form of y equals kx, then it's proportional. Basically, if the y-intercept is 0, then it's proportional. Really quickly, guys. Also, I noticed some things with this too. Remember, in the y equals mx plus b, M stands for slope. In a word problem, this is your per or each. All right, I went 20 miles per hour. That would represent the slope. B stands for the y-intercept. This is like your one-time fee, how much you start with, your deposit, something that's only going to happen one time, basically. So let's read this first word problem. John owes the company Rent-A-Bike. He charges $2 an hour to rent one of his bikes. Is this proportional? Well, he charges $2. I should have put per hour. I know you can't see that blue pen. Let me put white. Per hour. Well, there's your slope. That per right here, $2 an hour, is your slope or your constant proportionality. You can write y equals 2x, meaning it has a y-intercept of 0, so this is proportional. Second equation, John owns the company Rent-A-Bike. He charges a security fee, hold up, a security fee of $20. That's that one-time fee. So this right here is our y-intercept. Automatically, I know this is not proportional. And an hourly rate of $2. So there's my slope, my per hour. So therefore, the equation is y equals 2x plus 20, making it not proportional because it has a y-intercept of 0. Okay, so we're going to go through some examples. In the chat, I want you to tell me whether or not you think it's proportional or not. Or unless I made it a poll, I'm not really sure. Oops. Okay. I'm not able to see the word problems. Okay. So you have a poll, but let's go through each one. A says, Jamie purchases a basket of oranges. The basket cost $4 and the oranges sell for $2 per pound. I want everyone right now in the chat, put down what the equation would be for A. I want everyone in the chat, put down what the equation would be for A. Giving you 15 seconds. Put down what the equation would be for A. Jamie purchases a basket of oranges. The basket costs $4 and the oranges sell for $2 per pound. Put down what would Jamie's equation be? The basket costs $4 and the oranges sell for $2 per pound. Write it in the chat. Write it in the chat. The basket costs $4 and oranges sell for $2 per pound. Awesome. Thank y'all for participating. So her equation would be y equals, LOL, I'm using y. Y equals 2x plus 4. Because $4 for the basket, that's a one-time fee. $2 per orange, that's your slope. All right. B says Drew owns a boating. Sorry, I can't see it. I have to like hover over it to see it. Oh no, it's not showing me. Oh, maybe I'll press this. Oh, there it goes. That was much easier. Drew owns a boating rental shop. He charges $25 an hour to sell the boats and a $50 deposit. All right, 20 seconds. Put it in the chat. What's the equation for Drew? Drew owns a boating rental shop. He charges $25 an hour or per hour to sell the boats and $50 for a deposit for insurance. You got this, you got this. If you don't know how to write the equations, that's okay. Let's figure it out together. Awesome job, guys. All right, so y equals 25x plus 50. Awesome. $25 per hour. That's my slope. $50 deposit. That's my y-intercept. All right, C. Let's look at C. Let's look at C. Jane loves to buy pears by the pound. Her local market sells pears for $1.50 per pound. Write down the equation. Write down the equation. All right, awesome guys, good job. Thank you so much for participating. So y equals 1.5x. Well, there's our proportional relationship. This one has a y-intercept of 0. So there's our proportional relationship. Good job to whoever had already answered. Awesome, good job guys. So press C, C's our answer, C's our answer. So that is proportional because it has a y-intercept of 0. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Good job guys. All right, the goal is to finish in 2 minutes. We got this, we got this. 2 minutes, we got this. Hey, don't. All right, hurry, answer. Get your answer in, get your answer in. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. All right, this one I think is the one that's a little tricky. This one's a little tricky. Before you answer, I would probably try to discuss it with somebody. This one's a little trippy. A says the cost of purchasing a basket of oranges is $1.30 per pound. Okay, $1.30 per pound. There's your slope. And $5 for the basket. Okay, A is the obvious answer that's not right. Because that definitely has a y-intercept, the basket. B says the cost of purchasing peaches are for $7 per box. Okay, per box. There's your slope, with the delivery charge of $3. So you're only paying the delivery charge one time. So this will be 7x plus 3. Okay. The cost of purchasing grapefruit is for $1.80 per pound, with the coupon for $1 off. Wait a minute, this one doesn't sound like the rest of them, but does that mean it's proportional? I don't know. What do y'all think? What, someone want to say, what do they think the equation is for this one? Anyone bold? Cost of purchasing grapefruit is $1.80 per pound, with the coupon for $1 off. How would you write the equation for that one? Anybody? Awesome. Someone in the chat. Yes. Okay. So they said in the chat, y equals 180x minus 1. Perfect, right? 180 per pound. And that $1 off coupon would be minus 1. The y-intercept is -1. So this still is not proportional. Okay, that's still not proportional. So that leaves us with D. But wait a minute. Hold on, let's read D. The cost of purchasing apples are for $1.75 per pound, plus a shipping fee of 16 cents per pound. Wait a minute. What do you think? What do you think? What would the equation for this one be? What would I do? They both say per pound. Per pound. What do y'all think? What am I gonna do here? Sorry if I was talking really loud earlier. My sweet babies downstairs were screaming, and I felt like I had to scream to talk over them. So both of these say per pound, both of them, telling me both of them are the slope. Listen to this part. This was a star question, and a ton of people missed it because it was like, wait a minute, per pound, and they didn't understand that. So here, they're both the slope because they both say per pound. Well, since they both say per pound, I could just add these two numbers together. And I think someone in the chat just said that. I can just add these two numbers together. So 1.75 plus 16 cents would be $1.91, meaning the equation for this one is $1.91x. So this has a y-intercept of 0, because since they both say per pound, I can just combine the two. This was a star question, guys. That was messed up. They try to trick people. They were trying to be sneaky. You ain't sneaky, we caught it. So that per pound. All right, get to answer. Who is not answering? Let me just go see. Y'all answer. Y'all gonna have to redo this whole thing because you don't get a 0. Answer. We doing the answers together. All right, moving on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is from last year, so that's why it says this. So really, the rest of the things that we're doing today is on this Nearpod. Now, I don't know, I put individual work. Y'all can work as a class, but basically the rest of this is just doing the slides. But because we're on a live participation, you can't move on from the slide until everyone else's finishes. So this is what I'm thinking. Go to the Canvas page. Yeah, let's just do that, because some of y'all finish in like 3 seconds, and then y'all would have to wait for the people that take 5 minutes, which is fine. I don't care how long you take. But I don't want to hold up the people who are going to take less time. So go to the Canvas page, click on first period. When you do that, please, please, please do not go through the whole entire Nearpod all over again. That will waste your time. put in your name. Okay, Gabrielle Patterson, there's my name. And skip all the slides. Just skip, because you already have credit, unless you did not do the slides. If you did not do it, then you have to go back and do it. Oh my gosh, is this proportional? Yes, move on. So I guess it makes you answer. You can't just skip through it. No, move on. Okay, skip. The first table was proportional, so that's, yes. All right, move on. Wait, was that one proportional? Yeah, that one was proportional. The second one was not proportional. Okay, move on. All right, we did this one. I don't remember the answer. The answer was, which one's proportional? C. Okay, move on. And then the answer to this one was B. All right. So from here, so I guess it makes you answer. From here, you can do it by yourself. Okay, so we just skip through the slides really quickly and then answer the question. I would try to, honestly, I would do this as a class together, guys. Discuss it together. Don't try to do it on your own, all right? I mean, unless y'all want to. Oh, let me stop the recording. All right, guys.